Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 9 of Push2 A Plat Level Cap, the only show interested in raising your level and our own. Let's smash this cap together. In fact, listeners, we're actually going to smash this cap just with me today. But don't worry, I've got plenty of nasty, hoary trophy spam and achievement tips here for you. So stick with us. We'll see what we can do. But look, why don't we start off with a quick recap of the trophy levels? CoolKidJoe is still killing it. He's now at a level 53, 291 plats. He's approaching the milestone 300. We should hear from him next week about what that is. In fact, at the speed he's moving, he'll probably already have done it by next week. So we'll have to wait and see. He's on he's 707th in the US and 3,465 worldwide. Look, listeners, in fact, he's probably spamming something right now. So he's probably already above 291, but we'll take that. We'll take that as the basis. Look, I've moved up again. It's still going up, which is impressive. It's impressive at my age, and I've hit level 167 with 1,014 plats. I think that puts me at the second highest plat count in Australia. So both equally amazing and also horrifying, I think there. But well, what a wonderful achievement. I'll pat myself on the digital back there. I've maintained the 69th position in the world. I think I've got a lock on that now, which look, I think is fantastic. I can't seem to go up or down there. So it is what it is. Now, before we pick up where we left off last time, listeners, with the free game face-off, this time on the Xbox side with the games with gold, thought we could just briefly have a look at these numbers on the True Trophies side. Now, there are many numbers here. I'm sure none of them mean anything to you either, but they're here for a reason. So, and I know some of you enjoy stats. So, just to put this into perspective, now Joe is a much younger man than me. He's much more virile, if you like, much more flexible, dexterous. He has a lot of abilities. As we know, he's a million gamer score on Xbox. He knows how to play the games. He knows what he's doing. He's got custom controllers after all. Me, I'm an aging, decrepit, old, forgetful, almost dementia prone, I suppose, with perhaps a drinking issue or two occasionally, Australian gamer. So that puts us into perspective. But these numbers, they're just, even for me, they're blasting me away. So last month, Joe cashed in a total of 1,092 trophies. Now I only got 791. That's not bad, but 1,092. Any month over 1,000 is crazy. That's ridiculous. Now, for XP there, he gets 61,515. Now, I remember a time when I was happy to get 30,000 a month. Obviously, that number's being inflated now because of all the short games that are coming out weekly, but still 61, that's double what I was trying to get. I came in with a measly 41,610. So with 10,000 being a level, that shows you he's moving up around 6 levels a month. I mean, it's alarming that I'm moving up 4 levels a month at this stage, but 6, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. Now, on this site, they also have this other stat here. Look, I don't know how they get this. I think this is just the stat here, the TT score, that just makes hardcore gamers feel better about themselves, so they can separate themselves from hunters like us here, listeners, the spammies that just whacking up the XP. And so this number should be higher, apparently, than your XP number. Now, if it's not, I'm not sure if it's possible to have it if it's not. But if it's not, it means you're flatlined and you're dead. You've overspammed yourself. You're spammed out, in effect. So it must be higher, or you're in a lot of trouble. So it is always going to be higher then. Theoretically, I suppose. So we look at Joe's here. So he's earned 61,000 XP. He's only earned 63,835 of this TT score. So basically what that's telling us that, all except 2 of his plats, give or take, could have been done by an armless monkey, which is, it's fantastic, So at least we know that. Look, my score is not much better. I have 41,610 with this TT score of 45,538. So, maybe I could have been done with, a one-armed monkey, could have done most of my games or whatever. But look, I believe you want that number like almost double your normal XP. So that's something that we're never going to see between us. But that's still interesting there. So, that's it. Look at this. I played 55 games last month. and I finished 33 of them. So I don't know how you could say I'm not a completionist with those numbers. But look, you're not here. You're not here to hear about that, are you, listeners? You're here to hear about the games. So let's see what we've got here for you. Last week we talked the PlayStation PS Plus games. It was a pretty good showing with Dirt Rally 2.0 and Uncharted 4. You know, you might be sitting there listening now playing Dirt Rally 2.4 or Uncharted 4 with your hard-earned PS sub money there and enjoying it. So, you know, if you are on the other side, though, or if you double dip, if you're a little bit of a buy gamer, I suppose, then we have this Xbox Games with Gold. Now, they've put in a good showing as well, and they started off with a car game, which is interesting. So they started off with Project Cars 2. Now, this is available from the 1st to the 30th, the whole month on Xbox One. So this is more of a track racer. It has a very elaborate career if you've never played this. It's by the English developer. Now, they did make, this is the second iteration or whatever. They have made big improvements on this. I know in the first game, one of the trophies or achievements that caused a lot of problem were these community events that were set on the actual events that were set on certain days, and you had to do them in a certain time frame. And of course, they stopped. It became harder. So, you know, number 2, I believe, does not have this, which is, you know, it's a fantastic step forward. You know, in theory, that's a great idea, these community events. But, you know, like a sports title, if you're not on it day one or within the first year, it doesn't work so great. So what you can expect here is 47 achievements, 1,000 gamer score. The general premise is that you'll do the career. Now, the career it's pretty substantial here. There's plenty of races as you move through the different levels. In fact, I believe there's an achievement for finishing or reaching the end career level in a certain number of in-game years. The majority of the time, though, will probably be spent on the online part. Now, you need to do around 350 online races. Now, also, some of this is tied up with a clean rating or a safety rating. So you can't drive off the track, you can't hit other cars. It's probably best to boost this. Trying to do this now would be difficult, and also rely on randoms not fucking you, which, you know, is also pretty difficult in these sort of games. You're looking at around 50 plus hours. Maybe you can do it in as little as 30 if you're boosting. It's a solid racing game. It also plays fantastically with a racing wheel if you are that way inclined. Next up, we have, for the first half of the month, from the 1st to the 15th of April on Xbox 360 and Xbox One, Fable Anniversary. Now, if you have not played a Fable game, well, you should have. I don't know what you've been doing. It's a staple, if you like, of the Xbox. They're fantastic games. Fable Anniversary is the HD remaster of the original Fable game by Lionhead Studios. You're looking at 50 achievements here, 1,000 gamer score, and around 20 plus hours one playthrough. There are 3 missable achievements in this game. The general premise is you'll be doing the story, there's collectible, and there's miscellaneous trophies. It has an incredibly wild creative achievement list. In fact, it's one of these weird games where there are actually multiple ways to unlock the same achievement. So you don't see this very often. Look, I don't care whether you play this game or not for the achievements. If you've never played it and you own one of these systems, you should play it. It's a fantastic series and game. Next up, we move to the second half of the month, and we're looking at Toy Box Turbos. Now, this is a really fun micro machine style game, if you like. In fact, I think it's actually a sort of a remake of this from Codemasters. It's just it's a no-brainer. It's not particularly difficult either. You're looking at 16 achievements, 1,000 gamer score, around 3 to 5 hours. Yes, skill dependent, but not a huge amount of skill. There is one online trophy in this game, so you will potentially need to find someone to boost with, depending on how full the lobbies are. But because it's with gold, maybe they will fill up. The great news is you don't have to win the race; you just have to partake. You will need a second controller for one of the achievements here for the local match. Yeah, just playing against yourself, if you like. General premise is you need to 3-star every event. That should almost give you enough coins. You need 1 million coins to unlock the loaded achievement. If it doesn't, you can replay and farm levels. It's not a massive grind by any stretch, and it's a super fun game. I'll definitely be checking that one out. The last one I'm not familiar with. I know this has been on PS4 and Xbox for some time, and I know there's now a sequel. I'm not sure if it's a sequel or it's set in the same world or what's going on, but it is the second game in effect, I suppose. This is Knights of Pen and Paper. Now, I have heard good things about this game. It's an RPG where you can play as multiple classes. There's a lot a lot of different classes. It is turn-based. It's in a retro pixel art style, and it's a sort of an RPG inspired of older games, sort of games of the 90s. If you think of that era and style. We've got 18 achievements, 100G, 1000G, I should say, 20 to 25 hours or so. There is no achievement guide for this, but there is a Steam 100% guide that you can use. Some of the Steam achievements are different. There are more Steam achievements, obviously, than Xbox, but you can get the general premise here, and everything can be done in one. You've sort of got progression, crafting, and classes trophies overall, but worth having a look. This game, I started a little bit of it, and then I actually got sidetracked into Evo Land, which is a similar style of game that I thought was a little bit better because it actually plays with the genres of games from the 80s and 90s. But this is a worthy addition as well, and perhaps worth a check. And as I said, it's also available on PS4. You just got to pay for it there if you want it. So, what does all this break down to, listeners? What is better for you this month, the Gold or the PS Plus? Look, I don't know. Both are solid showings. I'm going to assume that most of our listeners have already played Uncharted 4. So, really, you're only looking at Dirt Rally 2.0, which is, I think, one of the best rally games, as I said last time. So, you're definitely not wasting your time on that one. And now that it's free, you're not wasting your money either. There's a ton of DLC. It's a really good, challenging game. I personally don't play these games with a wheel, but again, it could be quite good in that aspect as well. So if you put that up against Project Cars 2, perhaps it comes slightly ahead, but I think it's a bit of a push. So then you're really looking at Fable Anniversary, Toy Box Turbos, Knights of Pen and Paper against Uncharted 4. I mean, what can you put against Uncharted 4? But assuming you've already played it, I really like the look of Xbox this month, and I think I would have to go that way. Definitely worth a check either way, listeners. So now, why don't we take a look at some games this week? And it's funny, isn't it? Things are slowing down. We're all in our houses or whatever, but the games are not slowing down. In fact, this is one of the biggest weeks, I suppose, we've had this year for new releases. We have Final Fantasy VII dropping today as of time of recording. Resident Evil 3 remake dropped the other day as well. We had Persona 5 Royale drop the week before, or in some places just in the last few days. So there is a ton to play, but there's also plenty of quick, spammy trophies and achievements for you. And I want to start with Snaky Bus. Now, if you've listened to the main show, you know that I've got an affection for this game. I've already talked about it a little bit in depth. You might hear that episode after this one. You can hear more about it if you like. But basically, what this game breaks down to is about a 40 to 1 hour plat or 1000G. It's very low skill. In fact, there's only one trophy in this that requires any sort of skill. So we'll get to that in a moment. Basically, you will unlock all the trophies and achievements through natural gameplay. You need to just keep building up your score by replaying the level to unlock the different buses and different levels. All the achievements are based around this, except for the hard related trophy and the miscellaneous trophy. What I suggest you do is you start with the suburban level, although you can start with whichever of the unlocked levels you like, and you just keep running it. Suburban level is a little bit easier because it's quite wide. Now, don't be panicked here if you can't hit the 300 or the 400 trophy here for the length of the bus. You will get that. You'll get that on the ring level. Now, I believe you need around 4,000 points to unlock the ring level. So after a few runs, you'll get that, within 10 minutes or so maximum. Now, you can probably finish the rest of the trophies on the ring level if you are that way inclined. Basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a giant ring that sort of loops in on itself. Now, it is banked, so you can drop down to the sides. It'll take a couple of goes just to get a feel for the track. The idea here to get the 420 is to go slow. You don't need to worry about having the bus filled at every drop-off point. There's drop-off points on each level. The bus will grow regardless of whether you've capped it with the max number of people or whether you've only got 20 or 30. What I suggest you do for this is start on the outside ring and always on the left-hand side of the track if you can. It almost pays not to snake into the bus stops to pick up people, but hold that left line. As the bus gets longer, you're eventually going to get to the back of it. You then move slightly into the right. It's a good idea to move into the right early because when the bus grows, it grows really quickly. And if it hits you, it can push you off the track. Now, you can get a couple of loops doing it that way. Then you can drop just to the inside by taking the down ramp, a couple of loops there. You'll easily be on around 250, if not more, by this point. Now's when you need to start getting creative, whether you choose to drop down, whether you choose to jump up. Yeah. If you do it in such a way, you can actually have it so that the bus is now in the middle loops and you're back on the outside. If you get that, you're going to be set for 400. In fact, I think I got almost 600 with this method. So it's very easy. Don't die at 420, just keep going because, of course, the points keep accumulating. And you probably, if you do get to around 600, you'll unlock almost all of the other related trophies. So the only other miscellaneous trophy is the Paris night level. At this point, you'll have unlocked the Paris level. You should have probably unlocked them all. You load into the Paris level, take an immediate hard right. You'll see like a ramp. It's sort of like a sky bridge or a skyway, if you like. Just jump up it, immediate right, up it, hit the jump button, and you'll take off. Now, you're trying to land inside this sort of square block of buildings. Yeah, there's a video guide if you need, but look, it's really, really simple. It might take you a go or two, only because the right-hand turn comes up incredibly quickly. Look, it's a really fun completion game that requires no guide other than what we've just said, and just a matter of just replaying the level. So, as I said, could take you an hour, it could take you 40 minutes, depending on how quick you are. That is Snaky Bus. The next one I'd like to throw out is the Casebook of Arkady Smith. Now, I have a massive props here, and thanks to Zador VP, a Patreon producer of Push2 A Plat, who's actually written a guide that's available on PSN profiles at time of recording that explains this. Now, he's gone to say that this is a 4 out of 10. Look, I don't know about that, listeners. The more of a spammy gamer you are, the less of a 4 out of 10 this is going to be. I think the base game is maybe a 1 or 2 out of 10. He's referring to one trophy here. It's an arcade trophy. You get it early on in the game. When you load in, there's a TV. If you go to the TV, you can play this arcade game. Now, basically, it's just a vertical runner. So if you're used to playing these sort of fast arcadey runner type games, it's not going to pose too much of a challenge. You need to get 1,000,000 points. Now, you can pick up these little yen pickups, yen currency pickups. They will boost your score. It's a good way to start, but as it gets towards the middle of 500,000, it's going to hit max speed. The runner's not going to get any faster than that. So if you can adjust to that speed in your mind and your coordination, you're going to be set. At that point, it's not so much about picking the pickups up to boost the score. It's just about surviving also. I'd say a complete run to get the 1,000,000 probably takes 3 minutes, maybe even less. If you fail, it's sort of instantaneous load up. So it's very quick to keep replaying. Look, the only tip I could give is, yes, sometimes a game is bullshit. There's always one achievement or trophy that's bullshit, but it will trap you with the descending blocks that are falling down. There's nothing you can do, but with any of these endless runners, the trick is to watch the top of the screen, not to actually watch your ship or your character, and be making adjustments as soon as you see the pixels forming in the top of the screen. And as I said, you can get it quite easily. I think I got 1.2 or 1.3 million on my 4th or 5th go, and I'm sure there are people that can do it on their first go. This is the trophy that makes it a 4 out of 10. So if you're worried about it, you can do it very first trophy in the game. You can see what you think and let me know, or let him know what you think of that. For the rest of the game, it would be considerably longer without his guide. He's done a fantastic walkthrough. It lists every step that you need to take. You're just completing 10 cases with an A or S rank. You have to be a little bit careful in your car not to hit too many people. Also, the parking is just as random as. It sort of reminds me of parking in Paris. You just sort of park wherever and just shunt people up and down the road, including cars and people. But that does lose you points. Sometimes it doesn't matter where you park because the people just walk into your car and you lose points. Can't see these points, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. As long as you follow his guide, you're going to get every clue, and that's going to lead to every interaction point, if you like, to unlock at least an A. I've done basically the whole game. I've never got an S, I think, because I hit too many people, but yeah, comfortably got the A. One of the cases is a little bit tricky. It has some hidden cameras, but he points out excellently where they are in the walkthrough. And I think there's 5 of them. It's not too crazy. There are two miscellaneous trophies in this, one for playing the piano, which you'll do in a case at the hotel, and one for scaring pedestrians with the police car. There are certain cases you'll get that unlock the police car, and then it's just a matter of turning on the sirens with the button prompt, and you'll scare them. You only need to do that one. So look, it's a great game. I have a feeling it could probably be sped run in a couple of hours, and as I said, if you're good at these type of games, it's probably a 2 to 1, if not maybe a 3 or 4 there. But look, it's fine as far as how it plays. Look, yes, it's cheap. Yes, it's a small download. Yes, technically it's an open world of sorts. The graphics they're good though. It's very neon. It's very I don't know, like I don't very postmodern, I suppose is the word that I'm looking for. Very edgy, and so it does play into that. The cases are okay. There's not a lot of depth there in them, but some are more interesting than others, including the eyeball case, particularly. So that is the casebook of Katie Smith. Next up, I'd love to drop some Xbox love on you. Now, this is a little game that I found on Game Pass. It's not a new game. It released on the 14th of November, 2019, and this is Tracks, the train set game. Now, Tracks, not to be confused with Tracks, Trax, the slot car game, which is also an easy completion on Xbox, but not so on the PlayStation. This game has 10 achievements for 1,000 gamer score and can be done in as little as an hour, 40 minutes to an hour with a guide. So basically what this is, it's a wooden toy train, if you like, and you're just driving around various environments like the bedroom or the kitchen, around the Christmas tree and stuff. Now you can build your own track, you can first person in the train, you can pull the horn. It's really fun. It's quite fun. I would recommend it for nothing else. But if you're looking at achievements, it's super simple. All you need to do, finish the tutorial, then you use the different scenarios to complete the different achievements. The longest achievement, if you like, is the passenger mode. It unlocks 3 of the achievements: on the right track, riding the rails, good service, and on all lines. So if you have a look at the guide, that explains that it's very simple to do. That will probably take you 10 to 15 minutes, and then the rest will fall into line after that. The miscellaneous trophies are in the bedroom at night for pulling the steam whistle around the Christmas tree, sapling, adding a track to 100 pieces, which you may do in in one of these others anyway. Spruce up the storm, which is just placing 20 decorations, just spam the map with decorations out anywhere. Then the bedroom level, riding around the pancakes. This is a good one for doing the sapling, the 100 pieces, because you actually have to bank the track up to get to the top of the table and around. On this same bedroom level, you can also get the driving off the track achievement as well by just driving off the edge of the map, laying track of the edge. The only things left to do then is visit the remaining 4 levels, which will be Clear Night, Modern Apartment, and Apartment Night. As I said, it's free on Game Pass, and it's really relaxing, and it's kind of fun. And if you want to play it for the game, it's just like playing or building a model train set. There are so many decorations and environmental things you can put in. It's a beautiful thing. I recommend it. And this is Tracks, the train set game on Game Pass. So it's quite a few games already, listeners, but I want to drop another one here on you. And this is The Complex, the FMV game produced here by Wales Interactive. This is the same people that did The Bunker. So if you're used to FMVs, you know what to expect. This one's been written by Lynn Renee Maxey, and she was part of the award-winning writing team for The Handmaid's Tale. So this is actually pretty good. I didn't find it to be overly cheesy at all. It takes about an hour 15 to an hour and a half the first time playing through. There are basically 2 distinct paths, if you like. If you think of it as a VM, there's 2 bridging paths. One of the great things about this FMV is that it comes with a skip button. So you can only skip scenes you've already played. So that's actually going to save you a lot of time. Most of these FMVs, the time gets sucked into playing, the game over and over again for the multiple endings or for using save and manipulate. Because there's a skip button and there's only really 2 distinct paths in this FMV, it doesn't really pay to use save manipulation at all. You're better off just to play it twice and then skip scenes. So what I'd advise is just play it blind the first time. You're going to get one of the 9 endings anyway. It doesn't matter which one you get. Now, you can look at a guide here, but I would actually recommend just playing it blind a second time, but making the sort of opposite choices, if you like. The chances are you're going to do that anyway, particularly if you play it in relative, relative close time. Now, the second time will probably only take you 30 to 40 minutes, depending on whether you end up on the other path or not. The advantage of doing it this way is you're not wasting your time with the guide yet at all, and you're building up the number of scenes you've already seen. So it's going to make it quicker and quicker for skipping and cleaning up the other endings. By the time you get to about the fourth ending, you've basically seen all the scenes except the final scene that will unlock the trophy or achievement. So you can basically skip the whole thing. It also means that you don't even really need to pick the choices in the line as you go, because the choices naturally will lead to that point and you'll know it well enough to do it. So you're probably looking at around 3 to 4 hours maximum here. So what is it about? Well, it's quite appropriate. It's a bioweapon attack. It's based around nanotechnology. They're building this technology for the astronauts or whatever else. It goes into sort of this idea of human trials, all this different stuff. So I won't go any further than that, but you play as a female scientist, and there are two of you and your male partner scientist here, that are trapped in the lab, and it goes from there. As I said, there are 9 playthroughs. Recommend playing the first 2 blind. There's 8 ending trophies, and there's a hidden ending trophy. Now, you can't get this hidden ending until you've played the first time anyway. The hidden ending trophy is very, very quick. Now, you can tie the hidden ending in with the getting 50% or above for everyone's approval. What I'd suggest, because it is a little fiddly here, and you will need the guide, I would highly recommend the Power Picks guide. This game is currently on sale on the Australian PSN store for 15, and I think around 10 or equivalent US. For that price, I think it's well worth picking up. It's fun, and it's a very, very easy and quick cleanup. So that brings us, listeners, over to the Rata Plat of the week. But just before we get there, I thought I would drop a little tip on this Thunderpaw. Now, this was the Rata game from a few weeks ago, but I'm only finally starting to catch up. And what do I have to say about this game? Well, talk about a jump and a half. If you've played this game, you must know what I mean. If you haven't, you're in for a joy. This jump is like crazy. It feels like a double jump almost. It's as floaty as all get out. But, look, once you get over that, it's fun. For some reason, the gun has a massive blowback. You almost shoot across the screen when you hit it. So that's a little frustrating. But that aside, the game is super easy. In fact, way easier than I expected. It's just a matter of killing, the number of enemies in the level. It even tells you how many. And the great thing is, if you die, you either reset to a checkpoint or the beginning if you haven't got that far, but the enemies you kill stay dead. In fact, I'm even pretty sure that if you've hit them quite a few times, they retain that damage. So super, super simple. And you're basically looking at trophies here just for finding the hidden objects in the level, and then the 2 boss fights. Now, the only one that I had a problem with was the first boss fight. This is pretty cheap, partly because of the huge recoil on the gun. So what I'd suggest here, you know me, listeners, I'm always looking for the cheese method. After trying a few times, I found that getting him down to about half health was quite easy, but then his bombs become erratic, how he shoots out, and I couldn't find a path. So what I found is, again, and you can do this on the left or the right side of the level, if you've got him down to halfway and you still have all 4 of your lives, you can basically take a hit, let him hit you or damage you on one of the corners. Now, if you stay there and keep shooting him, he can't move. So you're sort of flashing invincible for a few seconds, maybe 4 or 5 seconds after each hit that he gives you. So you have the 4 hits. That's actually long enough to reduce his health bar from half down to dead. It'll be a bit close, but it's close. There's enough time, and you can basically cheese the fight like that. So get him down to about half health, bail him in the corner, and then even though he's attacking you, you're attacking him, and you'll beat him. The second boss fight is super simple, if not long. You just switch to the gun attachment that you pick up, which is like the wobbly bullets, and you run from one corner of the level, if you like, or platform to the other without falling off, and just shooting into him. You can't see him, but they will hit him, and his bullets can't actually hit you when you're on either side. So with those 2 tips, that game is incredibly easy, and I look forward to now going back and cleaning up those other stacks. But the Rata Plat for this week. Now, this is a gem. This is a real gem. We've had a few, interesting ones, a few difficult platformers, a few floaty platformers, if you like, a few random ones. But this one is back to the old school, nice and easy, charming Rata. If you play Devious Dungeon or Devious Dungeon 2, you're going to know what to expect. And this is Random Heroes Gold Edition. It's developed by Wobblyware Oi. It's a great name. So the premise of this game, it's basically Devious Dungeon shorter and easier. Yeah, you have a gun, you're just shooting the enemies on the level. Now, each level comes with 3 stars. You get a star for finding all the coins, a star for killing all the enemies, and a star for no damage. Why the stars are important are they unlock the 15 heroes. Now, each hero has a trophy or achievement tied to it. 3 stars unlocks one hero. Therefore, 3 by 15 is 45. Yes, it's still 45. Good. 45. So you need 45 stars in total to unlock all those heroes. Now, you don't have to 3-star any level, although the early levels are very easy. The advantage of starring, getting this 45 out of the way as quickly as possible, means that you can, in effect, run the whole level super quick later on when you don't care about the stars. Even if you finish a level with no stars, it still counts. While you're doing that, collect up the monies. You should have enough by getting the 45 anyway, but if not, just a little bit more. And you want to buy the first 5 guns for the other trophies and achievements. There's one, potentially missable, although again, you can replay any of the levels. This is the Crystal Skull. It's in level 6, World 1. It's super obvious where it is. There is no need for any guide for this game or video guide. You can just play it straight through and you'll have no problem. It's probably a delight to stack this game as well. So I would highly recommend this. Obviously, there are more chapters. In fact, 9 chapters, each with 12 levels. At your discretion, you can play more if you so enjoy it, but it's not required. So finally, listeners, we've made it. That's quite a lot there. I hope that's a nice little something for you. As I said, Joe will be back next week when our schedules work a little bit smoother. But I want to leave you with what I'm going to waste my money on this week. As I said, there's so much coming out at the moment. I sat on the fence a little bit for Resident Evil 3, but I did decide to pick it up the other day. Not a big fan of these games because I find them very, very intense. That having been said, I find this way less intense than 2. It's very linear in its style, but because you're not just set in that one police station, it just works better for me, I think. Of course, I'm playing on an easy difficulty, but I don't find it particularly scary or intense at this stage, and I'm a couple of hours in. Yes, it's very short, but look, it looks absolutely amazing like 2 did, so I would highly recommend it. I did pick up Final Fantasy VII. I'm not going to talk about it today because I know there are still many people waiting for their copies or whatever, other than to say I didn't play the demo. I've never played the original, but I was surprised how much this feels like a linear Final Fantasy 15. Very linear at this stage, but obviously the fighting mechanics in the same style. Having said that, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm sure you will too, listeners, when you pick it up. The only other thing that really interests me this week is Disaster Report 4. You may never have heard of this game. I don't know. It's been out in native Asian languages for some time, but we're finally seeing an English port. In fact, I think it's as of today. Has some fantastic costumes or whatever else, and a wonderful story. If you're not familiar with the game, I highly recommend checking it out. I don't know if it's for you or not. My tip on this from the guide writer currently working on a guide over at Nof's Guide, the wonderful Nof's Guide, is that it won't be too bad and that it can potentially all be done in one playthrough, but there are game spanning choices. So if that does concern you, you should wait for that guide and just check it out over at Nof's Guides. So listeners, it has been my pleasure to share with you some nasty, dirty, whorish spam today. I hope you've found something there to keep you busy. I hope your level is continuing to rise. I hope your achievements are going through the roof. I would love to hear about it. I would love to see it. We do have the Push2 A Platinum community on the PS4 or in our Discord. Show me some pictures. Show me how hoary you're getting. It's wonderful, isn't it? Until next week, listeners, let's continue on. Let's smash this cap together.